It's time for Orchard Skills! Lighting up an LED in series with a resistor supplied by 3 volts from an output pin is relatively safe, but interfacing with a high voltage can be catastrophic. Today on Orchard Skills, we'll be finding a solution for a Raspberry Pi to interface with high voltage safely. Please stay with us and we'll get started. Welcome back. An optical isolator is used to block high voltages and transient surges, so a surge in one part of the system will not disrupt or destroy the other parts. Optical isolation uses an LED light-emitting diode and a photosensitive transistor to transfer data across the isolation barrier, typically an air gap. In other words, data is transmitted by using light instead of electrical signals, so there is no physical connection between both sides, including grounds and data lines, thus removing the problems of noise, remote lighting, sparks, voltage surges, and ground loops, effectively preventing electrical surges as spikes from destroying other parts of the system. Furthermore, because optical isolation uses light to transmit data across the isolation barrier, it also gains the advantage of immunity from electrical and magnetic field interference. This makes optical isolation an effective solution in industrial areas where strong electrical or magnetic fields could be present. This optically isolated control relay is designed for controlling high voltage devices. There are 2 outlets that are normally off but get switched on when triggered, and 1 outlet that is normally on but switches off when triggered. On the side, you have a Phoenix connector that can be removed and easily wired to a Raspberry Pi. There is also an outlet that is always on where you can power a device. In a previous video, we created an Orchard Core theme for the Raspberry Pi. Let's take advantage of this theme to create an IoT relay using a Raspberry Pi with an Orchard Core CMS web application. With your favorite browser, let's head over to github.com/orchardskills/orchardskills.orchardcore.raspberry-pi theme. Let's click on the green code button and select Open with GitHub Desktop. And then click on the Open GitHub Desktop.exe and let's click the clone button. And there we go. Let's go ahead and load the application in Visual Studio. For the first thing, let's go ahead and create the devices directory. So on the Raspberry Pi project, let's right click and add new folder. And let's call this folder Devices. Inside the Devices folder, let's go ahead and add a new item. And let's do a class. And let's call this leddevice.cs and hit add. Okay, great. So one thing we'll have to do is include the system.device.gpio. So let's go to the Raspberry Pi project and let's add that NuGet package. Hit save. Now let's go back to the leddevices.cs. Now use that. In a previous video, we described all the different steps for creating the LED device. So I'd recommend you watching that in detail. I'm just going to go ahead and implement all of that code here in the relay device. So go ahead and just implement that. So now let's go to the startup.cs file here. And here we want to include we want to do a using Raspberry Pi theme.devices. Okay, and down here we want to do service collection.add singleton LED device. And so we'll need to implement this for the injection. So now let's go to the views and to the homes and to the index there. And let's just go ahead and paste that in there. Now let's go to the home controller. So click on that. And here we're going to declare our LED device. And we can do a using. And then we're going to do the dependency injection here for the home controller. We'll create a constructor. And in the index here, we want to get LED supported and also LED state and then return the view. And then we also want to do an LED on and an LED off. And then here is where we do the action for LED on and LED off when they click the buttons here. And so now we want to just copy the 2 light bulb images. Let's just paste that in there. And now you can see that here, if we go into images, we have our light on and our light off. Okay, great. And that's all we need to do. And let's go ahead and run the application to make sure everything works. enter our site name. Recipe will be Raspberry Pi theme. Put in our username, email, otherwise known as our credentials, and then hit finish setup. Okay, great. So now we have our Raspberry Pi Internet of Things relay. And let's see if it works. On, off, on, off. Okay, we're ready to try it on the Raspberry Pi. So here we're at the Raspberry Pi, and you'll notice in the right corner we have the application running. Turn on the relay. Turn off the relay. Turn on the relay. Turn off the relay. You can see here how the Raspberry Pi is connected. And here is our application here. Turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Now, if you missed or didn't understand something, that's okay. There's a detailed blog post that describes all the steps. There is also a GitHub repository with the complete source code. All this information is in the video description. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up icon. Also, please subscribe and click on the bell icon to get a notification when I release the next video. Thank you for watching.